right? So, your name is Joe, and life, all things considered, is pretty good. The sun's warm, the sky's big, and your Toto list is refreshingly simple. 1. Find food. 2. Try not to become food. Your days are spent tracking mammoths, grabbing the odd handful of berries, and tinkering with your personal spear. You know the one. It's got that perfect weight. Feels just right. It's a simple life of you do the work, you get the mammoth. You're hungry, you hunt, you're successful, you eat. Simple. It's a system that has worked rather well since the dawn of time. But today is different. The chief, who's a bit too fond of the sound of his own grunts, has called a meeting. There he is, standing on the tall rock, puffing his chest out. He has a plan, a great plan. And your beautifully simple life is about to get horrendously complicated. From this sun forward, the chief bellows, no one hunts for themselves. No one gathers for themselves. It's inefficient. From now on, the tribe will have a central plan. A nervous quiet descends, punctuated only by a distant and frankly unimpressed bird. Joe, the chief jabs a finger at you. You're strong. You're on the mammoth hunting team. That's your job now. Larry, he points to a man whose primary skill is tripping over his own feet. You're now head of berry gathering. All spears. He gestures to a pile of beloved, personally crafted weapons. Will be collected and standardized. Bob is now in charge of the new department of spear manufacturing. Everything hunted and gathered comes to the central cave. Then, at the end of the day, it will be distributed equally for the good of the tribe. There's some confused, half-hearted grunting. You look down at your spear key to not starving, honed over years, and feel a cold dread. It's now tribal proper day. The first day of the great plan is, to put it mildly, a shambles. You're sent to hunt, but first, you have to check out a spear from Bob. The one he gives you is dreadful. It's heavy, completely unbalanced, and the point is about as sharp as a rock. Which, to be fair, it is. But it's the standard issue rock spear. Innovation, he grunts, is not on the agenda. It turns out, when there's no competition or reward for making a better spear, quality tends to take a bit of a nosedive. Still, you're Joe. You're a brilliant hunter. Through sheer skill and a dose of luck, your team actually manages to bring down a mammoth. A huge success! You drag it back to the central cave, immensely proud. But then you see the haul from the other departments. Larry, the head of berry gathering, has met his quota of precisely one basket for the entire tribe. And that's when you learn a key feature of the great plan. A mountain of mammoth meat that'll be off in 2 days, alongside a desperate shortage of anything remotely resembling a raspberry the next day. Your standard issue spear snaps. You trudge back to Bob. He looks at you with the blank expression of a true bureaucrat and points to a large, flat stone. You must submit a request form, he grunts. The form is a baffling series of smudges and lines. Worse, it needs the approval of the deputy chief of tool allocation, who is, of course, away on a 3-day management retreat to synergize with the spirit of the mighty oak. At the end of another long, deeply frustrating day, it's time for the great distribution. The whole tribe is lined up outside the central cave. You are exhausted. Your hands are blistered from the abysmal spear, and you are ravenous. You, the mighty hunter who brought down a mammoth, are now queuing for a handout. Finally, it's your turn. The chief's new assistant, whose only discernible skill is looking terribly important, slaps your equal share into your hand. It's a small, tough piece of meat from yesterday's hunt, already a bit whiffy, and 3 sad, lonely little berries. You just stare at the pathetic portion. You're fairly certain you burned more calories filling out the spear request form than you're about to consume. There's simply no incentive to work harder. The reward is completely disconnected from the effort. This, the chief announces to the grumbling crowd, is progress. This is fairness. You shuffle back to your corner and chew on your tough, deeply unsatisfying meal, looking out at the moon. Life is no longer simple. It's now a world of departments, quotas, request forms, and endless meetings, and you are hungrier than you've ever been. Your freedom to make your own way has been swapped for a powerful central authority that is crushingly inefficient. Now, to be clear, this is a caricature. Real hunter-gatherer societies were varied and complex. Many were built on sophisticated systems of sharing and mutual support, not just rugged individualism. But this new system, this plan, this feels like a very modern nightmare dressed up in a prehistoric loincloth. You have a sinking feeling that this great plan is here to stay. And you also have a sinking feeling in your stomach, mainly because you're still hungry. You've just survived your first day in a command economy. Welcome to the new age.